Good morning, everyone. A section of scripture came to mind, and I wanted to give you my thoughts on it. It spoke to me heavily today. It comes out of John chapter 14, verse 6, and it reads like this: Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. What really spoke to me of that section of scripture was when Jesus says, I am the way. And I wanted to understand that concept, Jesus being the way. And it reminded me of a story in the Bible that's super popular when Jesus is walking on the water, when his disciples are crossing the sea and they see Jesus walking on the water. And I thought about what authority and what power Jesus has to walk on the water. And it made me think about the other people in the Bible that opened large bodies of water that God used instrumentally. There were 4 people in the Bible that God used instrumentally to open up large bodies of water. Moses was one of them when he opened up the Red Sea, and the people of Israel crossed dry land to the other side. When I think about Joshua's the other person that God used instrumentally as well, when the Levitical priests crossed and the river Jordan stopped, and the Israelites were able to cross dry land to the other side. Elijah was another one that God used to open the river Jordan, and Elisha was another one that God used to open up the river Jordan. But with all of them, the one theme that we see is that God needed to part the water and allow them to walk on dry land. And the thing that spoke to me the most was that Jesus, opposed to all of them, every single one of them, God needed to part the waters, and they were able to cross because they needed dry land. But Jesus was the only one that God, because he is God, did not need to part the water. Jesus started walking on that water because Jesus had the authority and the power, and he didn't need dry land. Jesus is our dry land. And so when I think about that, it just spoke to me heavily that he is our rock. We can stand on Jesus because Jesus is our way. Jesus is our dry land. And Jesus has the authority to do the impossible. It was impossible to walk on water, but Jesus did that. And so it just made me realize for 1 second and made me step back and say, you know what, Jesus, you are my all in all. When I don't see a way, you are my way. And I think as Christians, we need to step back and say, you know what, I may not see the end of a situation, or I may not see how something's going to come out to good, or I may not see how this is going to be solved, but Jesus is our answer, regardless of the situation that we're going through. Jesus is our dry land. Jesus is the rock of ages. And God gave us Jesus to show us the way and show us the way to the Father. And regardless of whatever circumstance we are going through, Jesus is our answer. And so hopefully that speaks to you today, because it just spoke to me how Jesus doesn't need dry land. Jesus is our dry land. And how comforting that is to me. So be blessed, be encouraged. Love you guys.